Hi, Linda Layman here. Welcome back to breastcancerhealingpath.com. I know it's been a little while since I posted anything on my journey, so I wanted to do a video for you instead and catch you up on what's been going on because I know that I left you in suspense last time, and I know that the news that I had heard at that last visit was not what I was really prepared to hear. So I wanted to catch you up a little bit on the journey. The day after I met with the team and was told that they thought that chemotherapy was going to be the route for me to go, I met with the plastic surgeon, and I have to say he was absolutely fantastic. Very patient. I think he spent 2.5 hours with us. But he really helped me open up my mind to other options. And maybe some other opportunities instead of my mind was made up when I went up there that I was going to just have them take both breasts and reconstruct them both, and I was going to be done with it. But he helped me realize that I need to keep myself open to opportunities that maybe aren't quite as drastic as that. And he talked about some other tests, some additional tests that I could have done to determine if I was at risk to having a recurrence in the healthy breast. You know, why mess with something if it's healthy, right? So I agreed that yes, I would be open to opportunity. And as soon as I did that, as soon as I left his office, I had a phone call from the coordinator who was helping me through all of this, making sure that I was still in town because they had arranged for me as part of this clinical trial. They had arranged for me to have some genetic testing done. The test is a BRCA1 and a BRCA2, and these are, I guess, tests to test for the what they call the breast cancer gene, because through science and through, I'm sure, donations that people have made throughout the years for breast cancer awareness, they have actually been able to identify a gene specific to breast cancer and actually prostate cancer in men. And so, yes, I agreed to have this test done, and they can either do it via a blood test or they can actually take scrapings of your, samples of your cheek and send that in for the genetic testing. And I won't keep you in suspense. The test came back for me, and it was actually negative. They did not detect the cancer gene, and what they do is they actually take it down to the DNA level. They split apart your chromosomes, and then they just look at them one by one, and they're looking simplistically. They're looking for a what they call a misspelling, and they're looking for that breast cancer gene, the gene that doesn't belong there. So they said that mine was negative, which meant that my breast cancer was what they call environmental. Now, environmental isn't just everything in your external environment, like the food that you eat or the environment that you live in. Environmental is much more than that, and there's a much bigger piece to that than all of this external stuff. And I want to spend some time talking about that in a later video. What I'm going to do is a video for you to talk about how our thoughts and our feelings, in other words, our mind influences ourselves. And I'm going to give you a couple of resources with that video as well. So be watching for it. It's going to be in the mind section of breastcancerhealingpath.com. So that was great news for me, and that pretty much began my lengthy process of multiple tests. We made many trips back up to Birmingham for other tests, additional tests. And again, these were all part of trying to determine if I was a candidate for this clinical trial that they talked with me about. So one of the tests that I had done was called a CT. And with a CT, they look at your organs and your lymph system to see if the cancer has spread anyplace else. And the great news, it came back perfect. Everything is wonderful and operating as it should, and no cancer anywhere else. Next, I had what they call a bone scan. And again, they're looking for cancer in my bones. And the great news there, perfect. No evidence of cancer there either. Next, I had what they call a breast MRI, which is an MRI of your chest area and your breasts. And I have to tell you, sometimes, or some people are claustrophobic and they don't handle this very well because you're actually gets scooted back into a tube, and then you're there for quite a while, and you have to be very, very still. And then it's very noisy too. They actually give you earplugs to block out some of the sound. But on a separate video, I'm going to give you some tips on going through an MRI. That's one of our dogs, if you hear in the background. Sorry about that, but they're part of our family, and certainly they've been part of this journey as well. But back to the MRI, I have some tips on that because the noise reminded me of a meditation that I do. So I'll do a separate video for you on that as well, and you'll find that video in the Mind section of breastcancerhealingpath.com too. So I had the MRI done, and what they did with that is they want to look again and see if it's spread anywhere else in the immediate area, and they can also see if it's attached to anything like muscle tissue or if it's even spread again to our immediate lymph nodes, which are under your arms. So I had that done, and the great news on that is that, again, it's very self-contained, and what was truly wonderful, and I am so grateful for, it was something that the surgical team was worried about, but there was definite separation between my chest wall and the tumor, which they thought that it had invaded, but it had not. So that was really great news as well. So another thing that I had done that I went back for was, yes, I'm so happy, another breast biopsy. But on this one, they wanted to send half of the tissue to the clinical trial group so that they could continue research to help other women in the future. The other part of it went to test to see what kind of treatment that the cancer cells would respond best to. They've been telling me that they thought chemotherapy was my best route to go. And so they wanted to test and see what medications or what it would respond to best. So between the time that they took that sample and I went back to see the physician, I knew that was my turn and my time to really get to work and get to work on my mindset, get to work on helping my body to heal itself, and do that through consciously visualizing myself in perfect health, consciously directing my healthy cells to go and, quite frankly, destroy the cancer cells. I did not know what other options were available to me besides the chemotherapy. I'd done research, but again, I didn't know. I was just taking their recommendation that this was the course. But I just could not accept that because I really, really did not want to go through chemotherapy. So in all of my visualization of myself with perfect health and through this whole cancer treatment and cancer stuff, it's all behind me in my vision, never once did I allow any thought or any vision of me going through chemotherapy. I just saw myself on the other side, perfectly healthy, vibrant, full of energy, doing the things that I normally do. And so when I went to meet with the physician, he sat down face to face with me and he said, "Linda, somebody is watching over you. You are truly blessed." And, I just wanted to hug his neck because what he told me next was, when we tested your cells for chemotherapy treatment, they did not respond as well to the chemotherapy treatment as they did us just taking away their food source. In other words, choking them off and starving them to death. And what we found was my cancer cells were actually feeding on the estrogen that my body produced. And he said by basically shutting off all of the estrogen, we're going to starve the cancer cells to death, and it's going to shrink, and it even has the opportunity to completely go away. And so, I looked at him and I said, "Can I hug your neck and give you a kiss?" And he said, "Well, sure." So I did, and we were all really happy. And again, I am truly grateful. I am so grateful that at this point in time, no chemotherapy for this tickler rula. So, the only side effect, I have normal daily activities. my exercise, my food, no restrictions whatsoever. The only side effects to this type of treatment, I'll just let you in on a little secret, it's just like going through menopause. Hot flashes, night sweats, and he said a lot of moodiness. Well, the good news is, because of my personal growth training, I told him I can deal with the moodiness because when I feel it coming on, then I know what it is and I can help it to go away, which I have to say I've had to do a couple of times. And you know, I'll share more with you maybe on a different video on some tips and tricks on how to identify it, and then how to help it to move on and go away and help you maintain your peaceful and wonderful and joyful outlook on life. So that catches you up. We are continuing to go back and forth and continue to have MRIs done to see how much the tumor has shrunk. At this point in time, it has shrunk a little over 20%, which I'm so excited about. And I go back next week to see, you know, how much more. And I can tell you, absolutely, my body is healing itself because this tumor is going away. And I can feel it and I know it. So if you want to reach out to me, maybe you have a question, or maybe you'd like just a little bit of help on your own healing path, feel free to reach out to me personally via my email, linda.yourdreamachiever@gmail.com, and I will be more than happy to hold your hand and we can walk this healing path together. So until next time, make it a fabulous day. You are so worth it and you deserve it.